This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome to the Mark Kapetan Show. This is attorney Mark Kapetan, your host. Today's show is brought to you by the Kapetan Brothers Law Firm. We've been serving the Central Valley since 1995. If you or anybody you know has been injured in an auto accident, a truck accident, or a motorcycle accident, give us a call at 559-498-8000. Or if you've been arrested or cited for a criminal offense, call the Kapetan Brothers at 559-498-8000. 559-498-8000. Kapetan Brothers. We are the Valley's law firm. Hey, folks, back in 1999, my brother Peter was having his first child, my little nephew, Nico. And he was having his first child. He was having a conversation with, I think it was Manuel Ponce, who was a bail bondsman next door, and my dad. And they were talking about being parents and raising children. And, you know, typical conversation between a dad and his son. My dad was giving him some life lessons on what it's like to be a parent. And Peter asked him, basically, Dad, we're older now. You don't have to worry about us anymore, right? And so my dad says, what? And he looks at Manuel. And he goes, Manuel, tell him. And they both agreed. They said, Peter, you're becoming a parent. You haven't had the child yet. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to count all 10 fingers and all 10 toes because you've been worrying about it. And Peter goes, yeah, but when you know, we're adults now, when does that worry stop? He goes, it never stops. You never stop worrying about your kids. And, you know, Peter, he found out. He's a father now for 20-something years, and you know, he says, I never stop worrying about my kids. And so he said, every night you pray that when you go to bed that you wake up and those kids are going to be okay, and that they're going to be safe, and that they're going to be healthy. And I'm sure that's on the mind of every expecting parent. Am I going to make you cry already, Marcella? Oh my God, Marcella's already crying. Yeah, I know, hon. Okay, listen. Sadly, and this, you know, the rough part about it, Marcella, now that you already got the tears going on, is that, you know, many kids are not that fortunate. You know, we have disabilities and diseases and stuff like that. But luckily, there are people who make their lifelong mission to help the disabled, the helping find cures, whatever it may be. Enter my next guest. He spent over 30 years helping those with disabilities. He's currently the executive director of United Cerebral Palsy of Central California. Cerebral palsy, or CP as it is commonly referred to, is the most common motor disability affliction among children. I didn't know that. The United CP Foundation, founded in 1949, has battled this terrible condition for decades and was one of the first pioneers in utilizing broadcast telethons in their fundraising efforts. They also founded Special Olympics, which everybody knows about nowadays, but, you know, about 30 years ago or so, many people didn't know what that was. So I'd like to welcome to the Mark Kapetan Show from United Cerebral Palsy, Central California, Executive Director Roger Slingerman. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Appreciate being here, and I'm excited to talk to you about what I do, what I've done, and exciting things that are happening in our world at United Cerebral Palsy here in Central California.
Well, with things that you've done 30 years, right? With not just that foundation, or has it been mainly CP?
No, actually, I've only been with CP here in Fresno for the past 8 years. I also worked for United Cerebral Palsy of Stanislaus and Tuolumne counties for about 2 years prior to coming here. So, and prior to that, I worked for Special Olympics for many years. So it's a shorter term frame to come and work in this community and work for persons with cerebral palsy. But we are at the point of changing our name to United Cerebral Palsy Plus, UCP Plus.
Plus what?
Plus means the different disabilities that we provide services for.
That are non-CP related?
Non-CP related. You know, believe it or not, we're only 10%.
You know, I had a sort of a question about it, but no, well, number one, you bring up an interesting thing about the name change. I've always called it cerebral palsy, right. And I've even back during the telethons, they sort of referred to it as that. Correct. The proper termination or pronunciation is cerebral palsy because it deals with the cerebellum, basically the brain, right?
Correct.
Okay. Is part of the reason that you guys are branching out like this, it seems that there's telethons that go on, and there's always these breakthroughs that come through. And when it comes to cerebral palsy or cerebral palsy, it is an affliction, or it is a growth or incomplete growth of part of the brain. And unless we get into changing DNA, doing stem cells and stuff like that, there's not really a cure for it, is there?
That's a good question. That's a little bit beyond my degree in that respect, because I work from the, running the business and the structural standpoint of what we do. But but what's happened, so when it started back in 1954, this is our 70th plus year, and being in business here in Fresno County, is that it was just cerebral palsy, and it was just people, families that had kids with cerebral palsy. It was new, it was smaller, it was about that. Over the years, we've always, being in this community, have always had different disabilities, intellectual disability, developmental disabilities, autism now, which is on the spectrum.
Yeah, and they're starting to find out that the spectrum is much larger than they originally intended.
Correct,
right?
And there's a lot more people that get diagnosed from that, as well as Down syndromes and other disabilities. So we've pretty much, in the years I've ever been involved with working with even programs like United Cerebral Palsy, from afar in, it's always been multiple disabilities.
But you have feedback, obviously, because you're basically doing day-to-day operations of the fundraising portion of the business, or what, or the events portion of the business. For
me, it's a combination of we have a children's program down in the Hanford area. We have an adult program here in the Fresno area, and my goal is we have 150 employees. We have about 6 different sites that we actually provide services for. So it's a multitude of that. We have HR work. It's fundraising. In addition, a lot of our money comes through the state, which is a good thing. So
tell me, without getting medical, because obviously that's not your field,
right?
Is there, compared to when it first started, are there strides in correcting some of these issues that these kids suffer from, or has it been extremely elusive this whole time?
Yeah, I think there has been, and especially with cerebral palsy and research that is done, I think the numbers are going down in a lot of respects. But there's other disabilities that, in our case, that you still need to provide services for, like autism. How many people? It used to be like 1 in 500 have autism. Now they're talking like 1 in 60, 50 something that have autism. So, different things have caused it over the time, whether it's the environment or everything else. But I do think they're making strides in helping that. But in this community, people, they're growing. We're part of the regional center system here in Fresno, and they've gone from about 23,000 people in the 6-county area to over 30,000 in the last few years because of growth, or mostly because more people are moving.
You mean assisting 30,000 people, basically?
Yeah, that's correct.
Really?
Yes, and we only are a small part of that. We're one of the many vendorized programs here in the community.
Is there specific, when you talk about cerebral palsy itself or cerebral palsy itself, is there a specific, I guess there's a varying degrees of the afflictions that you have.
Correct.
And so you not only are doing fundraising for research services, but you're also just doing services for those communities.
Correct.
Out
Most
there,
of ours in our house is all about doing the day-to-day. We have adult day program, for example. They get there between 7 and 8 in the morning, and they stay till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It's about a 6-hour day program.
Oh, really?
We provide transportation to and from their homes for most of our students, and they come and they get activities. They learn how to do jobs, or they work in some work in the community. Most of ours are going to program and learning how to do things. We have some programs that we have a garden. We also work things in there. So it's day-to-day school-based, kind of like a small college when they get out. Most of our students are over 22 years old up until they pass away.
So is there a campus here in the Central Valley or in Fresno area? You based where out of mainly?
For UCP here, we have 2 offices here in that we have adult programs here in Fresno. We also have one in Kalinga as well. There are 54 affiliates across the country that provide services. So,
and is it like a campus that you guys have here?
We just have basically it's more like a school where people can come in. Though we have bought a new facility that we are going to start renovation here. As I say, soonish.
Yeah.
It's been longer than we'd like, but it's getting there. We're figuring it out, and hopefully within the next month, the renovation will start, and in a year, we'll be in a new campus on Maple and Knees, and it'll be the UCP, at this point, North Campus.
Cool.
UCP Plus North Campus. So it's exciting.
We are on with Roger Slingman, Executive Director of United Cerebral Palsy of Central California, United Cerebral Palsy of Central California. Be right back after this on the Mark Kapetan Show. This is KMJ. It's News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Hey folks, welcome back to the Mark Kapetan Show. KMJnow.com is where you want to go if you want to tell your friends to listen to the Mark Kapetan Show and they happen to miss it live. Everything is streaming at KMJnow.com. I want you to also go to Mark Kapetan Show on Facebook or Kapetan Brothers. You could see the video. You could go to YouTube, right, Marcella? Like, subscribe, follow. Do all those things that the young kids do. Like, subscribe, follow the Mark Kapetan Show wherever you get your social media, and like I said, go to KMJnow.com or wherever you stream. Also, check out the Kapetan Brothers Law Firm. If you've been in an accident, I understand it's a pretty harrowing time for you, and you're injured, you're not feeling good. You may have a friend or a family member that's been in an accident. If you guys have been in an accident and you don't know where to get your answers from, and you don't know what to do, call the Kapetan Brothers at 559-498-8000. We'll answer all your questions and ease all your concerns. And 30-something years of doing this, I think we know what we're doing at this point. And we've had multi-million-dollar cases, $27 million, $10.5 million, 1.7. It goes on and on. Speaking about millions of dollars, we are on with Roger Slingerman from United Cerebral Palsy, Central California, who runs a budget of $8.4 million, Roger, it says here.
It's actually going to be 11.
It's going to be $11
million at this point. Yeah, it's grown even.
I don't
since
know where
that
I got
frame.
that.
It was
number.
It was off probably one of my resumes that I sent. It might have not been updated, so I should I guess. But it's okay. We've grown since I've been here. We were in the $4.5 million range when I started here, and we're now closer to 11 million.
Wow.
A lot of we're state funded by a lot of things, and our salaries have gone up. Minimum wage, compression. We had a lot of people that make money doing it that way.
Yeah.
And we're able at least to pay a good fee, and we've got good services for what we provide, and we do a good job, and we pay the market rate, and we go from there. So, and again, we were about 190 some employees when I started. We'll be over 150. We had about 10, 12 buses that we provide transportation.
Yeah. You were 90 employees before.
90 employees,
not 190.
Back 8 years ago in 2016, correct.
Well, I would like to say that you're now up to $11 million because of having a great executive director over there.
It's not me, it's the team. It's the team. Maury, I'm good at guiding and putting things in good place and perspective. And, again, it's part of the fact that we're renovating a new building, and we purchased that 3 years ago, and we still got some renovation to do on that, and we're in a good position to get it done, and we're excited, and you can ask me when, and I'll say soonish, because I can't tell you exact. So we'll make it work from that perspective.
But see, Marcella, that's an executive director right there saying it's the team. That's right. Absolutely, it's the team. Born in Fairfax, Virginia.
Yep.
1964. We're the same age.
Yep. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Exactly. I grew up in Vienna, Virginia, which is the smallest town in Vienna, Virginia.
I hadn't heard Vienna. Where's that?
It's in Fairfax County. It's right. So you got Arlington, you got McLean, Langley, Tyson's Corner, things you might have heard now.
Tyson's Corner.
Yeah,
we live near there.
So Vienna's right next to Tyson's Corner. At one point, Tyson's Corner was kind of Vienna.
We lived, so Tyson's Corner was near there, but we lived more close to Seven Corners.
Seven Corners,
called.
Yes, Falls
Seven
Church.
Corners, Falls Church.
Yeah, my dad worked in Arlington.
Doing what?
He at the time was at a consultant and engineer company. His company got hired out engineers to go work on projects around the country. And
you said drafting for airlines or something like that.
Well, he was after the World War II, he was a pilot for Eastern Airlines for a few years, and then he left that and went into drafting. Yeah. So he was a consultant, but he ended up his company hired, had guys that went to work for other companies.
So get this, Marcella. So his dad was with what they called the Army Air Corps back in the day. There was no Air Force. That started in the 50s. And my dad was a pilot in the Marines.
Okay.
And so his dad was in the Army flying B-29s in wartime.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, he was actually on a plane when the bomb was dropped in Japan. They were on their way to Germany, and they landed in Germany, got back on a plane and flew home.
No, so, yes. They landed in Germany.
Yes, they did.
Wow.
That was his first, because he went in at 17. He signed in early. He ended up becoming a flight instructor. He did all his training out in California.
Yeah.
Merced, Bakersfield, all out here. And ended up at the war. He wanted to be on a plane, so he was a flight engineer on the B-29. And so it was funny. Dad didn't share a lot of stuff, but when he did share, it was kind of interesting. And
it's fascinating.
I finally got to write it down, so at least I get it. And he writes it at Castle Air Force Base, and right up the street, and Visalia. It's all right around where I live now. Who knew, right? He's from Brooklyn. He was from Brooklyn.
Dad's still around?
No, he died at 12 years ago. He was 89. Great life. Yeah,
eternal memory. Yeah.
Say the least.
Yeah, one of my dad's best friends was a B-29 bomber. Did 50 missions. Did 2 tours. It's 25 each time, and you typically didn't make it through the first 25. Right. But it's just fascinating that they got these hunks of metal up there, and engineer was basically the guy that was basically making sure that everything was running correctly and sat next to the pilot, basically, or behind the pilot. Mm-hmm. And so that's just a fascinating thing. And luckily for him, he went into Eastern Airlines as a pilot. My dad tried to do the same thing, but they wanted to send him to Saudi Arabia, and he said, "There's no way I'm going to go take my wife to Saudi Arabia."
Yeah. And it was before unions and airlines, so it wasn't a lot of money. And at that point, they made a change to go outside of there and do something different. And
Mom, homemaker, or she worked?
She was. We had four. I have 3 brothers, so it was 4 of us, and she took care of the boys at the time. And Dad, Mom and Dad are buried in Arlington Cemetery.
So that's what I thought just gave me chills. We had my uncle Jermasian. I was born in D.C., right outside in Bethesda, Maryland.
I had a brother live in Bethesda. Yeah, of course we did.
And
told you we would.
So the last time I was over there was D.R.C. Greiser, a young colonel. He was in his 40s, maybe early 50s. At Arlington, snowing. The most picturesque thing I've ever seen, unfortunately, was my friend's funeral. Right. And the time before that, it was 1967 or so when my Uncle Buck was in Arlington. And my dad always wanted to be buried there, but he said, my mom's family's from here, so my wife, I'm going to let her be buried next to her family, and I'm going to be buried with the family. But how special is that to go
unreal. That service
Arlington? Was
amazing. And Mom's, it was a little different than Dad's. It was 5-6 years later, but just the whole experience,
pomp and circumstance of it all,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
and I can't explain in that respect. And what was neat, before my dad died, they have the Smithsonian over at Dulles. If you ever get to DC and you've been to Smithtown, town's great, but the one out there is even better. And then Nola Gay's there, so we were standing by and took the picture because it's a B-29. He could show us where he sat, what he did, little things. And I said, "Why don't you come work here and share your story?" He just never wanted to do that for some reason, and it was tough. But
the Nola Gay was the one that dropped the bomb. Basically, it's the most famous of B-29s. Yeah. Oh, that is wild.
I'm surprised I got through that without emotion. I'm a very emotional guy.
Believe me, Marcella will cry for both of us.
No, I can do it for the best. That's not a bad thing, right? They say if you can do it, it's a good thing.
You went to college at Old Dominion. My brother, I didn't realize it was a branch of William and Mary. My brother John, that's where he went to college. William and Mary.
Beautiful. I love Williams. I love Williamsburg. I love William and Mary. I have one of my oldest brothers now went from Bethesda to Williamsburg. This is a good segue. Everything we've done is kind of segue to this.
Yeah, I'm sure our paths crossed at some point.
Probably. But so it's Old Dominion. I loved going to college. I loved my job. I worked on campus. I was an intramural director after I graduated.
We're going to talk about all the intramural things. I want to talk about that. Did you play sports yourself?
I played a lot. I played in high school. I played golf and baseball. And I just it took too long to grow. I graduated high school about 5'8", 120 pounds, but I could play. I played flag football.
God, we are alike, man. I was the same.
Yep.
Well, I was 5'6". Hey, you were tall compared to me.
Freshman in high school, 5'2", 105.
Yeah.
So I wish I had my son now. He's 6'2", 160. Wish I was that.
Yeah.
But
wow.
I love the game. I love the sport. I've officiated. I've done a lot of different things. So
you got two boys. What is it? Rainier?
Rainier. R-Y-N-E-R. And Rory. Yeah. So all my brothers are R's. My grandparents were R's. My grandfathers.
Oh, really?
Rainier was a great-great-grandfather. So it's all ours carried on in our traditional name. So when Mom says some name in the room at one point, you just turn around because you're the only one in the room.
And wife Monica takes care of them too?
She does. Yeah, she does. She works at home, and she works for the California Hotel and Lodging Association and the Cabby here in California. And so, we
will be right back with Roger Slingman from United Cerebral Palsy, Central California. This is KMJ and the Mark Kapetan Show. We'll be right back after this. This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome back to the Mark Kapetan Show. Folks, you know the drill. If you've been arrested or cited for a criminal offense, or if you've been injured in an auto accident, a truck accident, or motorcycle accident, there's only one place to call. And who's that, Marcella?
The Kapetan Brothers.
The Kapetan Brothers Law Firm. We haven't done that in a while. Why does that make us laugh so much? We love it. The Kapetan Brothers Law Firm. You guys know it. Hey, if you got a friend out there who's been in an accident, do them a favor. Do yourself a favor if it's for yourself or a family member. Call your local attorney. Call the Kapetan Brothers at 559-498-8000. 559-498-8000. Kapetan Brothers, the Valley's Law Firm. We also have another promo here. United Cerebral Palsy, Central California, but just United Cerebral Palsy in and of itself. I want you to give. I want you to donate. They are an organization that's been around for now close to 75 years. Great organization, helping people with disabilities far beyond just CP itself. We are on with Roger Slingerman. He is a executive director of the Central California Cerebral Palsy. And you also have a thing that's going on for, and I love this term, for all of September that you call
Steptember.
Yeah,
and it's actually an international worldwide program. It started in Australia with the CPA Research Foundation in Australia, and they raise about $7 million a year. And in the United States alone, they raise about $1.4 million from different programs, not all CPs, but all kinds of different programs.
And what's the
premise behind it? The gist of it is a health and fitness initiative that you walk 10,000 steps a day for the month of September, which is a minimum of 300,000 steps, but it's activity steps, so everything counts, Mark. So if you play softball, if you start cleaning your restroom at your house, you start doing all those things, it all works.
I tell you what, Marcella, so I used to do about 10,000 steps just at work alone because before COVID, we used to walk to court every single day, and it was just nonstop. But I made sure that when I went home, when I was able to run and then walk around the treks, because I like going to treks, I would make sure that I did at least another 10,000 steps a day. So if you get me on this thing, I will do not only the work stuff, I'll go do another 10,000 steps. And if you want to go and bring your husband and the girls and all that kind of stuff, and we should try doing 10,000 steps a day, because I need to get back into it because my body's going to waste at now something years old.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing because everything counts. So you can, activities, housework, yard work, going to the track. Running gives you more steps, activity steps, than just walking. If you play soccer, Fuego's joining in with us this year.
Oh, that's great.
And they're doing it. So we're thinking that the soccer players are going to do between 40 and 60,000 a day.
Yeah.
And you're going to do it for 30 days. That's almost 1.5 million steps.
And you pledge X amount of cents per whatever. How's it work?
Nobody will be able to afford it. So the way it's a different thing. You pledge a dollar amount that you want to raise. You go online, you put it all out, and you can Facebook, you can send it to everybody, email, that type of thing. You can even send letters, whatever the case may be. And at that point, you put a pledge number, and it's more like a GoFund.
Okay.
You say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Hey, support me, what I do. Support what we do at UCP and support the students that are in our program.
Get me on this, Marcel, because I hate to use that as an excuse to start walking again. But and the significant part about it, folks, is I'm sure you've come across people with CP or some of these other disabilities. For us to do 10,000 steps when they're trying to make one step possible, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
for just that one step.
And that's why it's activity steps. So whatever they do counts.
You know, it was a brilliant thing that I just saw on YouTube just this couple days ago, and I'm positive the guy had CP, even though it didn't claim what his affliction was. He's a bodybuilder, and it was fascinating, and we were talking about research and whether there's cures in the future on these things. He would walk out pure CP. I mean, he was having trouble controlling, I guess they call it dyskinesia, which is basically these involuntary movements, right? And so he had these involuntary movements, and then he would strike a pose, and you could see the struggle in him trying to strike a pose. And then for about 3 seconds, he was able to hold a pose in perfect form, smile completely still. And I thought, oh my God, for him and he looked like he didn't have any afflictions whatsoever. If you could go find this on the internet, maybe I'll find it, we'll post it online. It's an amazing thing to see this kid and what he does. And I thought, geez, if they could just control that situation. So yeah, September. Where do we go online to look for this?
It's september.us/join/UCPCC, because you want to get on our page and be able to do it.
Say that again.
All right, okay. September.us/join JOIN/UCPCC.
Okay. Well, call up UCP and tell them they need to make that a little bit easier.
559-221-8272. Yeah.
559-221-8272.
And ask for Roger, and I'll get you on there. That's not even an issue. Yeah. Okay. And you can type in September
and they'll find it, right?
And there's apps. There's an app too. All the activities, everything you do turns into steps.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. I'm doing it.
Short story long.
I'm doing it. Yeah. Okay. Great segue in my needing to exercise and the kid doing the bodybuilding and stuff like that. You have been involved in Special Olympics forever and ever. I did Dr. Helen Rokas, God rest her soul, basically, may her memory be eternal, was a doctor of and mother of a friend of mine, and she got me in some of the first couple Special Olympics way back in the day. And it was very, very loosely organized. And it was just phenomenal to see these kids. And now I look back on it, and the Olympics themselves, broadcasting on TV, now have people with disabilities performing in the Olympics. And I thought, God, how far that's come. And you've been involved with that pretty intimately.
I have. So, you what you're watching now and the Olympics are over, the Paralympics are on, Special Olympics are on odd years. So they'll participate next year, and they'll have a national and a world games. And I've been fortunate enough to go to 4 different world games for Special Olympics.
What's interesting is I didn't even recognize the difference. And no slight to anybody, the Paralympics are not the Special Olympics. However, no one would have thought about having a Paralympics in the Olympics back in the day. And I think that's all because of CP and the Special Olympics.
Oh, absolutely! It's amazing, from where they've come to this day. And I'm watching this, like I turned on yesterday. I was watching rugby with wheelchair rugby.
Yeah,
it was unreal. It was just like watching the concept. I've been around, and I was around a wheelchair basketball national tournament in Kentucky years ago. Helped do it. It was amazing how good and how aggressive and how and it was no different. You just had to. If you look past what it is, it's them playing in wheelchairs. It doesn't matter. The effort level's just the same.
And what's great about it, and again, Marcella, you're not old enough to realize these things, I know you realize it, but you're not old enough to experience it the way we did in that sense, okay, is if a person was disabled and was successful and was traveling in sports and all that, it's because of that one individual just had something in them, they had a drive. But there were no organizations that gave people those opportunities to even consider whether they had that type of drive. So to see all these teams and sports that they get together, wheelchair basketball, like you said, rugby and all that stuff, to sit there and see the camaraderie that they all get together and push each other to do things that were never imaginable in my day. It's fascinating.
Yeah, Shrivers back in the 60s when they started. 68 was when Special Olympics started. Back in D.C. area. Eunice Kennedy Shriver and Sergeant Shriver are actually the ones that started it. And they had a vision, they had a focus, and it's amazing what they've done. I've got to meet them both. I've spent time in their homes.
You did?
Yes, I'm involved with Special Olympics. I walked in the opening ceremonies in Ireland in Croke Park with Maria Shriver. God. So I get the concept and what they've done, and I miss being involved with it more than I was.
Yeah.
I was the vice president for Northern Cal for years, but I still love what I do. And here, it doesn't matter what level, whether you're supporting for a medal or not. It's just amazing the effort that goes into.
And that goes along with the story. The Shriver, Eunice Shriver, was one of the kids of the Kennedys, right. The old man Kennedy, and she was hidden from public view for ages. And so, yeah, CP and Special Olympics, just a great organization. We'll be right back with Roger Slingerman from United Cerebral Palsy. This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Hey, folks, I want you to like and subscribe the Mark Kapetan Show on YouTube and also on Facebook. Go to Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. I think that's it, right, Marcella? Follow us on Instagram. Also, go to KMJNow.com or wherever you stream, and you could catch out all the past episodes of the Mark Kapetan Show. By the way, coming up, George Thorogood at the Big Fresno Fair. George Thorogood, the reason why we're mentioning him is because not only is the Appletones, my band, playing with George Thorogood, but also it is the favorite, one of the favorite bands of the many, many rock and roll bands that our guest, Roger Slingerman, from Cerebral Palsy of Central California likes, right?
Oh, absolutely. I got the George Thorogood and the Delaware Destroyers. I got to watch it back in the 80s in Norfolk at the Boathouse. It was just, it was just one of those things, and I one of those groups I've actually been to a concert, and I love them. My Bad to the Bone is. And then, of course, we can always go after this, go to the one bourbon, one scotch,
one scotch, and one beer. Okay, but here's the funny part about that is, number one, he called them the Delaware Destroyers, and I never knew that's what they were originally called. Okay, number two, he said, I used to listen to him when I was back in Norfolk. And Norfolk is the way that you say Norfolk.
Yeah.
We would say Norfolk. I mean, but yeah. And talk to my brother John, because
we say we don't drink, we don't smoke. Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's kind of it comes around from that perspective. So yeah,
that's too funny, man. Yeah, George Thoroughly Good is going to be at the Big Fresno Fair. Check out the Appletones while you're at it. So yeah. You've traveled a lot. You've been around the United States, Kentucky, Connecticut, worked at Fresno here, but you've also traveled with CP and Special Olympics and stuff out of country, being a coach for Special Olympics, et cetera. Where have you been?
I got to go to Ireland for the World Games back in 2003.
Yeah.
I also got to go to Japan, and I was got to go to Nagano, Japan. Was there for 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
Spent a week in Japan and skiing with our athletes and getting ready for the World Winter Games for there. And amazing people, amazing story.
Yep.
Croke was the best. Ireland, 85,000 at the opening ceremonies. Sold out house. It was free tickets, but it was on the Irish people couldn't have been any better.
You're talking Special Olympics?
Special Olympics, wow. Croke Park, U2.
Wow.
By the way, played.
No.
Oh yeah. I'm just telling you that, it's like some of the experience I've had is because of working for organizations like Cerebral Palsy and working for Special Olympics. So I can thank them for giving me a great life experience. That's for sure.
Great life experience.
Yeah, no doubt.
Japan, we're trying to get the family to Japan. I've been 3 times now, but I'm trying to get the rest of the family to go.
There's more 7-Elevens in Japan than there are here.
yeah,
it's amazing.
But they only have mochi in it and weird stuff in it. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's too funny. Speaking of which, you say when you travel, you learned through traveling, you learned how to dine, but not how to eat.
Yeah, no, that's funny because I still preach that. So actually, when I moved to New York when I was a junior in high school, I had to go out with my parents a lot because we were new and just moved there and hadn't been there long. But we got to go to some great restaurants, Burt Bacharach's and some of these really fine dining restaurants. And we'd get there and they'd have appetizers, have a drink, they'd talk about their week, and next thing it's 2.5, 3 hours later, we're sitting there, and of course you had to pay the guy in the front and do all those things, and I'm like, I didn't really appreciate it at the time because I had to go hang out with some friends and do that. But down the road, when I go somewhere, I want to go eat at a nice restaurant and I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy the company. I want to enjoy the food. I can tell you where I've had it, what to go eat
ready?
somewhere. Yes, sir.
You don't have to be anything too name one of your top meals, because now you're talking my talk. It's usually involving company and stuff like that. Name one of your top meals.
Veal Marsala would probably be one of the.
Where's that?
The best one I ever had was in Long Island.
Not food wise. What's the best event meal? But where's Via Marsala? What is that?
A veal Marsala?
Yeah.
It's a veal dish made with Marsala cooking.
Oh, yeah. No, I meant where you were, who you were with, what the food was, all that stuff.
I'll tell you, there was a couple restaurants in Long Island. Burt Bacharach is one of them.
Yeah.
I can't remember this French restaurant, but I remember going in and having prosciutto and melon and sitting there and eating that. It was like to clean your palate, right? And you're sitting there going, man, this is good, the sweet and the salt. And I was 16 years old, and I'm thinking,
you're living large,
and you're sitting there and eating. I got to eat in Stowe, Vermont, and we had Chateaubriand, and I remember sitting there with the friends of our family and sitting there and just, you had to order it the night before, because they have to take long to cook it, and you're like, so now it's like drinking good wine with a good piece of food, and there's things that I'll order out that you don't cook at home, and there's things I don't order out that I'd rather cook.
But see, he likes the prosciutto. He likes the prosciutto. Yeah, not prosciutto. Prosciutto. Dude, you sound like a fun dude, man. You in college started 27 different clubs?
Well, no, actually, I started at one officials club, but I was part of we had in intramurals, we also had sports clubs that did things, and I actually worked with the rugby club, but I also ran the intramural department at the university at the time. And the club I did start was the officials club, but I did about 27 leagues in the area. So we did adult women's basketball, we did kids soccer, and so we were getting paid $3 something an hour, but I negotiated contracts in the city so the kids at our campus could go out and officiate. So I had a group of about 20 guys. We'd make phones. This isn't before any of the phones or anything else. And we'd go out and call. And I found my book the other day with all the leagues and all the different ones.
Oh, you did?
And Norfolk Naval Base. And I did
we lived on Armed Forces Staff College. It's now called Joint Forces Staff College, I think, which was right next to Norfolk Naval Base.
Yeah, right there. I lived across the street from there, matter of fact.
No kidding.
Right near the Bojangles. And there's right across there. As you go into the bases of McDonald's, and stories that we went and bought 125 burgers at McDonald's one time because they were 25 cents back in college. So just things you do to save money.
And did what? You just put them in the refrigerator?
No.
Oh, you ate them.
I ordered 20 and somebody ordered 10. Back when the metabolism was different.
By the way,
I was doing 50,000 steps a day, Mark. A lot different. That's
when he went from $120 and 5'8" to like 220 and 5'8".
No, I never. My metabolism was still good. But I was very fortunate. I did a lot of different things in my life, and everybody goes, "Why'd you move to Fresno?" And
why did you?
It was a job opportunity. I was working at Modesto and the executive director at the time, and I thought it was a great opportunity to come here and work with the cerebral program here. They had great staff, and it was a great opportunity. And
first time in California, though.
I moved to California in '99.
Yeah,
and that's when I came to work for Special Olympics and was the vice president of Special Olympics Northern California. And I ran our summer games and all the major championships.
And Monica and the kids love it?
I met Monica in '99.
And she a local girl?
She was from Stockton, and we met in Special Olympics. She worked for them. She was a development, and we got married in '01. Our first son in '03, and then we had next one was born in 2006.
Really? So like you met at Special Olympics. So cerebral palsy literally has created a lot, or
working with people with disabilities.
But it's shaped a lot of your life.
Shaped a lot of my life. And it was friends of my brothers that worked at Special Olympics Incorporated that I went and met with them and did that, and it became an opportunity, and that's when I took my first job in Special Olympics Kentucky in 1993. So,
in Kentucky,
went to the Derby, got to do a lot of cool things.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
That's a great. Listen, that's one of those life events with people and drinks and food and all that kind of stuff. 85,000 people in the infield the year we were there, and it was crazy. So it's just one of those experiences you'll never forget. That's awesome. Roger Slingerman. Love the name, by the way. Roger Slingerman. Listen, it just sounds like a guy who's out for a good time right there. From United Cerebral Palsy, Central California. thanks for being on the show, man. That was awesome.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate the time, and I love it.
We will see you next week on the Mark Kapetan Show. Again, like, subscribe, follow, do all those things that the young kids do. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Go to kmjnow.com or wherever you stream. This has been the Mark Kapetan Show on KMJ. Thanks to my wonderful, lovely producer, Marcella Solorio Taylor. We will see you next week on KMJ.
How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Good, thank you.
Would that be all for you today?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, 579 please. And it's asking if you would like to round up your total to donate.
Round up for what?
Round up your total to donate for the UCP.
Oh, UCP?
UCP, there you go. Good.
What?
I just noticed what you're wearing.
What? What?
Oh.
What am I wearing?
my t-shirt and shirt.
This is not you?
Yeah.
Is this you?
That was funny.
What? I got it from some students at UCP.
You did?
Yeah, they're trying to raise money for their new building.
Right.
It was a really good deal. Like 2 shirts for $20.
Right?
Yeah?
Just to raise money for them?
Yeah?
Oh my god, that is, oh Lord. That's good.
Okay, so are you guys hiring here?
Oh, okay, hold on. Sorry.
Awesome. So I'm gonna round up?
Yes, would you like to?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead and say yes if it's okay with you.
Perfect.
You got me.
It's for a good cause.
Yes. Amen. $6 please.
So this is you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm Anna.
All right. Nice to meet you, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do for UCP.
Thank you.